Oh,
Hello.
hello, hello, hello.
Every Rush song.
Happy June, Rush fan. That's right. We're recording this in April, early April. So it probably seems weird to say Happy June. But yes, welcome to Every Rush Song, where my friends up here and I will discuss every Rush song. And today, Tim, what if your favorite band hadn't recorded an album for various legitimate, understandable reasons in 6 years, and then all of a sudden you heard this? Would that make you happy?
It would make me happy, and I'd be saying, when did Judas Priest get a bass player?
I'm telling you, the beginning of that sounds just like Hellraiser. I mean, sorry, Painkiller.
Painkiller.
That was the remix, so probably not what you heard back on that fateful day.
But even back on that day, I was so happy. Look.
I mean, that's a fine how do you do?
But at the
Look
same
what
time,
I got.
Oh, that is so.
Isn't it pretty?
I like it. I like it a lot. But look, let's say they had never put this one song on an album we've already discussed, and this was the single that they released after a 5-year hiatus, and the name of the song was Emotion Detector.
You'd still like it.
No, I'd still hate that song.
Oh, wow.
No,
that did not go the way
those
I
are
was
strong
expecting.
words.
I would be like, hey guys, take another 5.
Wow.
No, I wouldn't. No,
Wow.
It was a joke. Okay, everybody chill out there. I was just joking. I love it. Very exciting song. Now,
Oh yeah,
and of course we are talking about One Little Victory. I don't know if we ever said.
Did we mention that part? I don't remember if we did.
I don't think so.
I was gonna tease it, but then it's in the title, so it's kind of dumb when I tease it, and it's probably scrolling across this. They probably clicked on One Little Victory, and then here I am going, what song are we going to discuss today? So yeah,
Emotion Detector.
I mean, good Lord. I mean, seriously though, you hear that song, and every time I hear that song, like, that is just bad ass.
And you know what I was hoping for?
It's great for a workout mix.
True.
Unless you're running a marathon.
and I love my hockey. Okay.
Yeah.
And
do you love your hockey, or never mind?
Now, and maybe it was played. I would think maybe the Maple Leafs would have used it. Possibly the Montreal Canadiens, Ottawa Senators, maybe they would have.
Go Habs.
When they dropped the puck before, and the music that they play. To me, and when you do the the football team season is over with, so here's the highlight video, for all the games that was played this year. That song would be so awesome. I don't know if anybody ever did it or not.
You know what? Here's a question, and I'm sure it probably hasn't happened, but the Dallas Stars got an original song written by Pantera,
right? Yes,
for their
goals when they make a goal. Absolutely, yeah.
But why can't Rush have been asked to do something for hockey?
You would think, like, I don't know, the Toronto Maple Leafs might have at one point, but I don't. And maybe that song has been used for different teams.
Well, and Getty is I don't know about the other guys, but Getty's a huge baseball fan.
He's a huge baseball fan. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
now, I mean, okay. Juan Gonzalez comes up to bat. One Little Victory doesn't really work for baseball, you know, the
Yeah.
walk-up song. Okay.
Maybe
It's the Darth Vader theme.
But
Maybe.
but your song, instead of Start Me Up or Welcome to the Jungle, One Little Victory is an awesome. Now, I have been to a Dallas Stars game, and I've heard, now they didn't do the whole keyboard introduction, but they started at down digga down digga down digga down digga down from 2112.
Oh, that's
You know,
cool.
right before
Yeah.
dropping the puck. That's, you know, that
Now
was
that
cool.
would be really cool.
Yeah.
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 Awesome.
Yeah, I think
But
this would be a great song for that.
I think that's one of those great sports highlight songs. And I'm not saying this song's talking about sports. It can be, just like marathon apparently wasn't about, you know, marathon runners,
Stop
which
saying
it still
silly
can
things.
be. But anywho, great song.
Great song.
I
Well,
don't hate
I
it
guess
one
that's
bit.
all the time we have. Um,
We'll see you next week when we talk about.
So,
Reset the timer. It wasn't really the end. You tricked me. I stopped it. It wasn't really the end.
Did I really?
So,
So
okay.
I did not delve into the lyrics of this one as much as I have on some of our others, but I did.
Go do it real quick.
Yeah, I did. Well, I did also. I got kind of over the gist of it. The high level, so to speak, would be a common theme with what Neil writes is just kind of, you know, be yourself. You know, don't try to be somebody else. Be real. All that kind of stuff. Yeah. So there's that.
Wow, that was not the ending I expected. Tim, thoughts, general observations,
On One Little Victory. That would
or motion
be
detector.
mm,
Just kidding.
now it's definitely longer. The song Test for Echo, but that was really more of a Tom thing, but maybe he was doing a double kick kind of thing, sort of similar in a way to One Little Victory. I'd have to revisit Test for Echo, but that was the first time we ever really heard Neil using steady 16th note double kick, keeping time, not as a fill,
Yeah.
but keeping time, you know. And in a way you're going, well, you know what, maybe it wasn't appropriate for the song The Past from Presto or Ghost of a Chance to do consecutive 16th notes, you know. Maybe it took them getting to this point of saying, guys, it's been a while, happy to see you, are we ready to rock? Are we ready to remind the world what Rush has always been and still is today, the greatest rock and roll band ever known to mankind? And that means history, bub. That's a long, long time. And they did it. They did it. That opening kick drum and guitar coming in, bass following up, is saying, we're back. Watch
Oh
out.
yeah.
We're back and we're strong.
And we are strong.
And this is our victory because we
Right.
overcame all this. We are back.
A certain measure of righteousness, a certain amount of force, a certain degree of determination, daring on a different course. Boom, we're back. I'm going to drop my microphone.
Boom.
Don't drop it. It's expensive.
Yeah, that's true.
Treat it nicely. Be kind to your mic.
Nice microphone.
Nice microphone. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's in life to achieve your goals. You know, you've got your goals set. Okay, how often does it happen that you do this one thing to achieve that ultimate goal? No, you have your one little victories. a victory here, a victory there. And you're working and you're changing and going about things differently because you have to achieve that goal.
One step at a time.
One step at a time. Right.
Yeah. It's like it's like having things on your list, your kind of goals, that things you need to get accomplished.
Right.
You're going to drive yourself nuts if you think you're going to be able to do it all at once. It's going to take time. You got to mark them off one at a time. So once I get to this, that's one little less thing I got to do.
Jay, the greatest act can be one little Timothy.
One little Timothy.
You know what? That is a great act. I don't mind saying that is a great act. Well, and apropos, I love it when I can use apropos. Apropos to the book, Ghostwriter. A lot about Neil's fighting through the depression of the horrible times that he went through. Yeah. This is really rings true to fighting out of depression, because when you're depressed, when you're as down as he probably was, you don't want to do anything. You don't care how you look. You don't care how you smell. You don't care what bills get paid or not. You don't care. Well, you might care if the dog gets fed, but everything takes an enormous amount of effort. Just getting out of bed and putting on clothes or making coffee takes an enormous amount of effort. Mm-hmm. And what someone else might see is just like, to you and me, it's going to be just a little victory. But when you're that depressed, when you're that down, even something just as small as just putting on your socks so your feet don't get cold.
Right.
It's a great act. It takes a lot of determination. And I think it's a pretty accurate depiction of someone trying to come out of depression, where you really got to fight for those little tiny victories. You got to fight hard. It's a lot of fight. It's a big act for just a little amount of victory. And then you just got to keep doing it until it turns into one more. And every little one that you do is a chance for another chance to score. So it's a very inspirational song in that regard. And then just how much it rocks really gets you going too. Like if you don't want to get out of bed to do anything, then set your alarm to play this song. And when that double bass kicks in and then the guitar comes in, it's probably hopefully going to motivate you to get up and do whatever it is you need to do to get out of your funk.
You know, now that I really think about the lyrics, they have nothing to do with what I said. I mean, really.
You know what? When we get next week, when we talk about Ceiling Unlimited, I have something completely different from what everybody else says. And y'all can give me a silly face too.
I've got some great information about Ceiling Unlimited as well that I think well, you'll just have to see.
And then the lyrics, because we've talked before about how we talked about it with Mystic Rhythms. Neil was analytical. He was logical. He didn't believe in magic or even religion. He probably didn't buy into a lot of the self-help stuff either. And so he had to take on a measure of innocence, and he had to act what he would have normally thought was naive. He had to kind of try to buy into these things to do that people say to do to get out of a depression. And I mean, he had to just, it's gonna take some imagination. I'm gonna have to pretend like this is real because there is nothing else.
A measure of make believe.
Yeah, and I think it's awesome how he turned his skepticism to anything that's not analytical and concrete into, okay, this is what I have to do. I have to suspend all these things I've ever thought to have these little acts.
And in the book, I think he's learning things about himself. He's changing some of the things about himself. Like early on in the book, he's sitting somewhere and he's just looking at all these. He wasn't a big fan of morons.
He did not suffer fools lightly. No.
Yeah, no. But as the book goes on and as his journey continues, he starts to be a little bit more patient and open to, okay, I don't know them, you know, I don't know what they're going through. I know what I'm going through, you know. It's so he kind of there's a lot of change that happens to him, and including in addition to the healing.
Yeah.
And it has the, and that's why it's 1 mile at a time on his journey, you know,
Right.
one little victory, you know.
And I think the best thing that happened to him, and that was, you know, he wasn't staying in the big cities and the big fancy hotels. He was traveling at, you know, stopping off at the local diner in the small town,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and slowly, and not necessarily by having conversations, but just observing
And can
local
you
small
imagine?
town people
Right.
communicating, and then getting back in touch with humanity.
Well, and also, can you imagine the fact that he's doing this here? He's got the, you know, arguably, or to me, there is no argument, the greatest drummer of all time, uh, sitting in a diner and nobody recognizes. There's nobody, you know, nobody knows who he is. He can go in completely incognito because, you know, well, maybe Canadians, but I don't know. I mean, nothing is. I mean, it doesn't sound like from when I'm reading the book that, you know, anybody recognized him. And I mean, if you think about it, if you're not expecting to see Neil Peart,
Right. Yeah.
at Waffle House,
Right. Yeah.
you know, so that's kind of cool.
I kept wondering that all the way through. How do you go to these places and nobody recognizes you? You go to these checkpoints with the security, and none of them go, "You Neil Peart? Are you Neil Peart from Rush?" Are you? Not a
And I
single
think
time. So
I
either
think
it didn't
that
happen, or he just didn't want to talk about.
well, I think it probably it was happening, but I think there were a lot of some of the people. I get the impression there's some respectfulness going on with the people. Like, I swear, I thought I read something in there about, you know, people that did recognize him didn't mess with him. They were just like,
Well, I think that was because of two reasons. Number one was
yeah,
because they knew what he had just
right,
suffered,
yeah,
but also because they also knew he's not a big fan of the fans coming up
yeah,
to him, and I can't pretend a stranger is a long-awaited friend, you know, and he does, and because of his shyness,
yeah,
that, you know, and being in the business as long as they had, so for people who did recognize them, boy, they'd love to go up and say, "Oh, Neil, I can't believe you're here. Would you please sign the?" No, they know them or him well enough to say, "Boy, that's awesome. I'm going to go and call my buddy, but
yeah.
I'm not going to mess with them," you know. But in the, golly, it's the Rush documentary. Why can't
Beyond the lighted
Beyond the
stage,
Lighted Stage,
yeah,
where Getty and Alex are in some local diner thing, you know, some little restaurant, and the waitress recognizes Getty and goes over and starts talking, and Alex is right across the table from Getty, right there, and she's, you know, it's something like, "My son is a huge fan. Would you mind, you know, signing this?" You know, and Getty looks at Alex and goes, "Well, you know, he's famous too." And she just sort of looks at him and looks back away like she has no clue who Alex is.
it's kind of like, oh,
And
well, that's
Alex is
nice.
just like, you know, and he's just eating his dinner, you know, just continuing on.
Oh
You
man,
know?
Didn't
that's
interrupt my
hilarious.
pancakes.
Ah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. But
So,
the song, not just, and it does, it's a perfect um telling of what he had to do to make it through, to get his one little victories, the things you have to go through, blah 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 blah. But it applies to every other part of life as well. I mean, I started off with the sports thing. It all reflects in sports. You know, you don't just put a team together and go and you win the Super Bowl. You have to get all those little victories, your victories in practices and training. And yes, you get that one little victory because you were tied and your field goal kicker hit the 3-pointer to win the game. You have to go through all of that. It's not, and if you want to do it again next year, you got to go through it all again. It's
Right.
not just going to be handed to you. It's not like Karate Kid part 3. Yes, Karate Kid Part 3, where Daniel-san, who was the returning champion, he didn't have to go through all the bouts. No. They were going to decide who was going to be the finalist, and they went up against Daniel-san. No, life's not like that. Okay? No. If you're going to retain your championship, you're going to go through all that stuff again to get that one little victory. And it's the same thing in business, in your family, in your marriage. Boom. It's
It's
all
work.
about life.
It takes work. It doesn't happen overnight. It's like, for example, marriage is a great example. When some people think, hey, they say, we get married and all our problems will be solved. We'll be happy. Everything's going to be great. And we're going to feel this way, the way we feel right now for the rest of our lives. Well, yeah, but you're going to have to work on it. You've got to, because you're going to do some dumb stuff. I almost said shit. And and so is your spouse, and you guys have got to learn each other. You're going to get on each other's nerves. You're not going to want to talk to each other. You're not going to be in the same room, but you learn. You one little step at a time, one little victory. Yep. Before you know it, you're divorced. I mean, married for whatever. Yeah, but yeah, it takes work. Good things don't just come to you.
But I actually, besides, because when I think about, I guess the true meaning of the song for Neil was what he was going through, I'd rather not think about that. So I like to just think of the Dallas Stars hockey team.
Yes, Dallas Stars. That's all I got.
A couple of lines. The measure of a moment is a difference of degrees, because based on what happens, things could go
south or north.
Yeah, mm-hmm. You go south or north. And it, the degrees too, it's just kind of reiterating. It seems like a huge act to you, and it seems like a small victory, where someone else, it's going to be reversed. It's going to seem like a tiny act, or a huge act and a victory. Or someone else is just, okay, well, it was, I just knocked it out. I just got it done because that's what I do every day. I thought another clever line. Yeah.
I was going to say, Shayne, did you mention, because like right before you were talking about, speaking of sports metaphors, you said celebrate the moment as it turns into one more, another chance at victory, another chance to score. Speaking of sports metaphors.
See, there you go.
Score.
Boom.
Yeah.
It's a sports song.
Yes. It's a sports song.
It's about the Dallas Stars.
It should be played at the first face-off of every period.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Well, unless they're losing 6-0.
Right.
Yeah. Then you play emotion detector.
Yes.
So
I like what he did with the and I guess the first verse, whatever he says, a certain degree of surrender to the forces of light and heat, which, get ready, Tim.
Here comes science.
So I'll simplify it some. So like light, you can see it, but you don't necessarily feel it, unless it's a lower end of the spectrum, where when it becomes heat. And heat, you don't really see it, but you can feel it. I guess that's the science part. they're both in waves.
Mm-hmm.
And when light gets the bigger waves, that's when it becomes heat. And at some point you can feel it more. And then in the second part, it says kind of the same thing. I can't find it. Certain amount of, this time it says resistance to the forces of light and love. And then that's kind of the same thing there with light. You can see it, but you can't really feel it. And then love, you can feel it, but you can't see it. So I like the way he kind of twisted that around from surrender to the light and heat, and then resistance to the light and love, because he probably was resistant to the people who were trying to give him advice that he really didn't want to hear at the time, because he didn't want to hear it and he didn't want to do things that they were telling us. But he just had to tolerate it, have a certain amount of tolerance to be willing to rise above what he was going through. One little victory.
Nope, I think that's very well said. Shayne, Shayne, is it? Yeah.
A certain measure
of shame.
A certain measure of
I couldn't tell if that was too double entendre or not, but I just went with it.
what are you gonna do?
Wow.
Was there a certain part of the song that you like? I'm stalling while I'm queuing up.
I mean, a certain measure of righteousness, a certain amount of force. I like that. To me, it's not what necessarily about what the song's about. It's, to me, that's what, all right, this song is just badass, and you got that lyric describes the badassedness that I feel about the song. But lyrically, going into it, I'm learning tonight a lot about the lyrics that obviously I didn't know what the hell I was talking about early on. But
that's why we do this show.
Yeah. See,
well, I don't think you were wrong, because I mean it's a song and people are gonna get different things from it. That's what Neil
wanted. But when I was prepping for tonight, I also pulled up a couple pages of the lyrics for each song. And the song I had up here to talk about was Vapor Trail. So obviously I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Your producer should have told you what we were doing tonight.
Oh, he did.
Oh my.
I'm a nut smart sometimes.
Well, I like, this is at count 22, and we can play it this time, where the volume comes down for a for a little bit. The guitar part picks up at 37 seconds, and I'll point when it happens. And then there's a snare fill at 41 seconds, and I'll play along with it back into when the main riff kicks in on this station right here.
Do that.
Guitar.
I like that.
Yeah, the little the flange,
and this is the remix, right?
That's the remix.
Is that, yeah, I don't think that's on the original.
The flange.
Yeah.
You know what?
Let's
find out real quick. We'll find out real quick. Not there.
No.
Cue it up. When did I say it is? 22 seconds. Let's listen. Here's the original. Not as much.
You're right. It's not there. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
That's something about the remix I like better. I like the little
there
flange.
You go.
The flange.
Little cheesy flange. Just kidding. Just kidding.
You know, really, they didn't do a lot of messing around with Neil's snare sound on drums.
Yeah.
You know, adding effects like that. You know, I mean, I'm thinking on the snare roll, right before the guitar solo in the middle section of Vitor and the Snow Dog. You know, they did a flange on that and and they go into the guitar solo.
Yeah, it was rarely messed with
they rarely ever. Somebody got crazy, snuck in there and pushed the flange button.
Yeah.
As someone coming from someone who did it a lot, it's really easy to overuse the flange effect, because I overused it a lot back in my day.
Back in the day.
Oh yeah, I cranked distortion up all the way, turned it as far as that would go, and then had some flange. Yeah. I really misused effects.
Oh.
All right, here's another part I like. 1 minute and 32 seconds. The guitar's doing 16th note. I mean, it's like a simple thing too. The guitar's just doing 16th notes over steady on the kick drum. What do you think, America? I don't know. For some reason, to me, that just sounds badass. I love that. And there's not even any Getty in that part. It says
Okay.
Yeah.
But what's really cool about that, because think of the song Hand Over Fist from Presto, where I think back in the day we said Alex was being influenced by Prince a lot. But that song starts off that clean guitar sound.
It's kind of that same
This time it's just he hit the distortion pedal on this,
maybe a
and
little farther down the neck.
right. And then when he comes in on the snare, he's doing the exact same thing he does. It's the same pattern on the snare and the hi-hat, but he's not doing 16th notes on the kick. It's just keeping that boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
Mix it up a bit.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Very cool. This album doesn't have all the little detailed little effects sprinkled through it like Power Windows did. I wish I'd had this set where I could play all those little sound effects I talked about through Power Windows.
Yeah.
Because this is more raw, more just rocking. It doesn't have, it's not, well, we just got like a studio produced album. It's just
this is getting back. This is getting back to heavy rock trio, bass, drums, guitar. Yes.
And that's, hence the no keyboards or synth or anything like that. They're doing all the effects with their instruments and overdubbing and all that kind of
and since Alex is playing so much more, he's not just doing the picking out of the chord or just the power chords. He is down to get down.
A lot more
so you don't need those little cutesy little things here and there.
No.
But I would like you, Shayne, to go in further to the song where they start the little the greatest that can be, one little victory. I want us to listen to that part on the remix version and then hear the guitar solo of that on the remix that they brought out.
All right.
Well, you're really putting him on the spot there, boy. I'm telling you.
Come on.
Yes, Tim. I can do that on the spot without pausing the recording.
That
so you did
is awesome.
At 406. Here's
yeah.
what Tim's talking about. This is the remix. That. I love the wailing there at the end.
Great.
Well done, Alex. Okay, now find the same spot on the original.
Wow.
Your glasses
okay,
are fogging up, Tim. Are you fine? You okay?
Can you handle this? Can you handle it from the original, Tim? Are you gonna be okay? Too bad. Here it is.
Okay. All right. Let's hear the original.
It's more the riff.
Right, it's just the riff. You're not hearing that.
You don't hear it.
solo.
You're right. That's another case where
Man.
the remix is better.
You know what? That's a badass song
Boom.
right there.
That just happened.
That totally just happened.
Yeah. So
I
see
Lamp.
no reason to argue. What?
Do you, Tim? Do you really love Lamp?
I
Or did
love
you
Lamp.
see Lamp and
I love Lamp. I love
okay, all
Lamp.
right. You love Lamp. You love Lamp.
Dead air. I wanted Tim. I wanted
Shane's
to focus on
disgusted.
Tim's drinking. No, I just wanted to focus on Tim's drinking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't even have that discussion on which is better. I want both, which makes me mad because I've had Apple Music forever and it doesn't have the original mix, and I had to get an Amazon thing. Luckily, they gave me 3 months free membership so I could listen to this.
I love my Amazons. Did you
DJ.
figure out?
Oh,
Did-
yeah.
I love my Amazons.
DJ, do you really love Amazon, or are you just naming off apps that you know?
I love Amazon. I love Amazon.
Happy.
So you made a playlist. I've made a few playlists. Can we share our playlists?
I think so. I think if you update it, then it'll update for me.
Okay.
Oh, you
'cause
mean share with like the general public of
Amazon,
the
yeah.
world? Oh, I bet we
I don't know
could.
if we could do that. Because
But
like I
I'm
made
not
one
gonna keep paying
today.
for Amazon though. I can't afford to pay for. I have to pick one.
Yeah. I made a playlist today.
Ooh, we share.
It's Rush songs that are multiple part songs, and Rush instrumentals all in one playlist. So
Ooh, boy,
I
this
have
is a
the
topic right here.
I have the
I'd like to know what all you think are more than one part songs.
well, I mean, there's
Read
also
us the list.
there's songs that are
Read the
all right.
list.
There are
I think we're
multiple
talking about one little victory, Tim.
there's
Oh, I'm
multiple
sorry.
part songs, yes, but there's also songs that are part of a suite for the fear.
Like hemispheres.
The fear
Right, okay. Yeah,
the
but-
four
Oh,
songs
but
from the Fear trilogy.
Like the
right.
Gangster and
And
Boats
see,
trilogy.
but see, I would not have counted that against you because that is one song. You're
Right.
talking about either a side of an album that's got all the different parts, Hemispheres 2112.
Hemispheres.
La Villa
Or-
Strangiato, you've got your Cygnus X1, book 1, book 2. Like you said, 2112. But I mean, there's not really. I thought there was more than that, but there's not. But
There's Natural Science. There's The Camera Eye.
are those?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know that.
We'll have to talk about that, won't we? That sounds like a
Right.
good live. Ooh, we forgot to do the live thing tonight. Next week. We'll go
Oh,
ahead.
well,
and do it.
what are
Which
you gonna do?
in podcast years will have been 2 months ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Podcast years. No, that's dog years. I'm sorry. Is it dog years or dog years?
Dog years. Dog years.
Dog
It's the
beers.
season of the itch.
Underrated, by the way. Underrated song.
Agreed.
Am I
Yes.
right? Do you agree?
It's a very good song.
I think it's underrated. I think a lot of people are too hard on it. But this isn't.
No, we're not
That's
talking
right.
about that. We're talking about
Yeah,
One
we'll
Little
get to that
Victory.
album. Oh man, when are we
Yeah.
gonna get to that? That's gonna be years before we get to
Now,
All right.
let's talk about One Little Victory live
Oh,
and the use of the dragons.
the dragons. Now, apparently, since you brought up dragons, I think Neil wanted to have. I'm pointing to Jay since he's got the album behind him. I think Neil wanted to have a dragon breathing out that fire with that fireball. Heard that somewhere. I read that somewhere. What you looking at?
Oh my God! Look, space guitar. Space guitar came up. Wait,
Oh, it's
there it
behind
is.
your-
Space guitar.
Oh, you have to point.
Space guitar.
Does it work if I do it? Doesn't work when I do it.
Under the red sun of the universe of
Ooh.
Rush and
The
the
space
darkness
guitar.
south of that star,
In the
there
victory
came
trail.
space guitar.
Dude, you need to write that stuff down. This is a song, my friend.
It is a song.
Yes,
It is a song. And you know what I think? I think if we go back and just watch these recordings and then write down every time we talk about it, we may have about an 18-part song.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's
Space guitar, the intro, space
Yeah.
guitar. The soliloquy.
I think
Soliloquy.
I think it's going to be like an
Anonymity.
18-part trilogy is what I'm thinking.
Easily.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a 3-sided album.
One Little Victory Live, Tim.
Number one, how awesome it sounds live. Again, their mastery of taking that song from the album and yeah, probably not going to hear that really cool little guitar solo thing that we heard in the remix there, because
a lot of different guitars to play.
There is, but it sounds so good and full live. And then with the pyro going off and the dragon starting to fly towards the end, coming at you, and then
which is your
that
favorite?
was awesome.
Rush in Rio, One Little Victory, Rush in Rio, Snakes and Arrows, or R40. Are there any?
Wow.
Are there any live recordings out there from the Vapor Trails tours? Are we gonna have to wait for the 40-year? Is there like a Vapor Trails live or anything? I mean, I guess that's what
Rush in Rio
is, but
yeah.
No more. Okay.
Well, because I
guess that makes sense. I guess I keep forgetting how long it was between each of those.
Now they changed the set list, so maybe they would come up and say, "So here's the set list we were doing at the beginning of the tour."
I guess they didn't end up doing a lot of Vapor Trails live, but I would like to have heard more of these songs live. And they're like 7 songs that they never played.
There's 13 songs on the album,
but isn't there like 7 of them that they never played live?
No. Well, let's see. So,
like a music chisel.
Secret Touch of the Heart.
Did you say
I would have to I would say 6 songs possibly that were never played live. One Little Victory was played live. Ceiling Unlimited was played live. Ghost Rider played live. How It Is was played live. Earthshine played live. Secret Touch of the Heart played live.
Did you hear Secret Little Touch live?
Did I say Secret Little Touch again?
No, but I will never let you down.
Thank you.
Damn it. Let you.
What?
Words, man. Words.
Concerned about the secret little touches that you're having. Is this?
Well, we already did Secret Touch, though, didn't we? I mean, we did that.
Yeah, we did in
episode 12.
Right.
Man, back in December. Are we really going to do Secret Touch again?
I think we can hit on it. Yes, because we did that with La Vila.
The answer is
and
yes.
We're going to talk about Closer to the Heart and blah, 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 blah.
Vital Signs.
Vital Signs.
Yeah. Oh, that wasn't a solo. We did that with Rush Discussion. That wasn't
right.
One of the first when we were doing our 10 or so favorites at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts on One Little Victory? On One Victory.
Just that it's
One Little Victory touch.
It's a great workout song. Obviously. It's a great song to drive to when you're on the long road trip and you're about 3 hours into it and you're like, oh, I've got 2 to 3 more hours to go and it's all the same. Caffeine. Boom. You put that in, you take your on this one right here, you take your Power Windows cassette out because it's playing Emotion Detector and you throw it out the window and you put in the Vapor. It's in Arkansas. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah. It's
Sorry, Arkansas listeners.
We love you, Arkansas.
I do love Arkansas.
I do, but
almost
love
heaven.
Arkansas.
West. Well, that's West
Arkansas.
I love Arkansas.
Blue Ridge
Do
Mountains.
you love
Shenandoah
Arkansas?
River.
Thought
Shayne,
you'd
do you
never
love
ask.
Arkansas?
I love Arkansas. All
Or are you
right.
just naming states that you're thinking of?
I think ending this show is going to be one little victory.
Hey, and by the
Could
way,
be.
Tim, I
Gonna
just
laugh too
added
much.
one little victory to my my workout playlist. So
Awesome.
thank you for
Yes.
that suggestion. That's a great
Yes.
idea.
Oh, you should also add "Out of the Cradle." That's a good workout song too. All right.
Okay.
Well, what we've talked about it. We've all three given our opinions, but none of that matters. What matters is what do you think? That's what we want to know. What do you think about one little victory?
And you know what? Hey,
touch?
what I would like to know is
One little
what do you
victory.
think?
That's what we want to know.
Do any of us actually work out?
No, it's
I
obvious.
do.
Well, Shayne.
I do.
But-
Look at these rings. Look how many rings I closed. Oh, you can't see it. Never mind. I closed all my rings today.
I don't know what that means because I don't
Well,
work
tell
out.
us. Tell us what you think. Email us 2112 at everyrushsong.com, on all the socias at Every Rush Song. Oh, and I never said this, but you can comment on the YouTube videos. You can tell us right
Yeah.
there. Tell
Tell
us
us
how
right
Tim
then
is
and
wrong.
there.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Doesn't
And
really
then we'll do
happen.
another one next week. What's next week? What's next week, Tim?
Next week, we are going to be talking about Ceiling Unlimited. I can't remember the name of the words. World's open wide. Turn
Turn
and
and
turn
turn
again.
again.
Turn
again.
again.
All right, and we will see you then, Tim. Take us.
Thank you very kindly, Marfa, Texas. Good night.
Tim's opposing.